Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go watch a movie with PJ. Lord, and he's always glad you came. You wanna be where you could see our troubles are all the same. You wanna go and watch a movie with PJ.
Is it Monday already? Are we here? Are we back again? Are we doing another watch along? Of course we are. Welcome back to the PJ Campbell Network, you guys. I, of course, am your host, PJ Campbell. I got to be a little honest. When I started that intro, I got excited thinking we might see like a singing Batman, and I'm a little disappointed, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, I guess it's better than having a pineapple or not a pineapple. I don't know. But guys, I'm happy that you're here. How are you all? It's month 5, I feel like, of the quarantine, or day 1060 something. Who knows? We've been doing this for a long time, but we're happy to have you guys. We started a little early tonight. I apologize at the last minute. Just so you guys know, for the kind of next couple of weeks, especially with the Schmodown singles tournament really like going into full swing, I have a lot going on behind the scenes of that show. So because of that, the time kind of change a little bit for shows on Monday. We might move it up a little bit depending on what my workload is looking like. And then at the end of the week, because they're live events, they're going to be an hour later than they were, because we don't want to try to compete with that stream. So, you know, just a little general housekeeping. We're glad that you guys are here. We're glad you guys are excited. And so, you know, without further ado, I can't do this stream without two of my favorite people. First, he is the graphics man. He's coming in first because I just wanted to piss off Evan Degraff. Hello, Chris Clark. How are you? I can't hear you. You're muted. Here you go. You're good. Your mic was muted. Nope, can't hear you. Now you got to press something. There we go.
There we go. So it's a new setup, guys. How y'all doing? Batman the Animated Series, Pat. This is one of the greatest movies of Batman ever made. One of the greatest stories of Batman ever made, and it comes in at only like an hour and 10 minutes. And it's what's excited about this watch along itself is we can actually delve into the greatness that is Batman the Animated Series, not just this movie itself, because there's a lot to dig in with this one, and I'm excited to watch it with you.
I really am too, especially because you and I both grew up watching the series. We're both big fans of it. I'm watching Evan squirm backstage right now. He's mad that he didn't come in first. But I really am excited, man. And that's part of the reason I wanted to bring you on first, because you and I both have an affinity for the series in a way that our next host does not. And that's complete opposite viewpoint. You know, and that's, we all grow up on different things. So I needed to get my little geek out session with you first of the fact that we're about to watch a movie that has the greatest Bruce Wayne ever put to film, the greatest Joker ever put to film, in arguably the greatest depiction of Gotham ever put on screen.
Yep.
And now then, he has to come in sometime, I guess. Mr. Evan Degraff, hello, sir.
Hello. How y'all doing? It is 9:00. It's funny, I was playing Smash with my friends like an hour ago, even if that. And I'm like, I'm actually starting to get tired at normal times. Not saying I'm tired right now, but I can feel my body slowly starting to decompress, which is good because school's coming up and we all need to be going to bed at reasonable hours. Yes, we're in quarantine, but fuck, sleep schedules are not good for your body. But anyways, I'm excited to be on. The first time I watched Master of the Phantasm, I think, was either with Chris or he prompted me to watch the film. And
shout out Star Drew.
God damn it, Star Drew.
We were watching. I gave him 4 episodes of Batman the Animated Series. We watched it on Skype, and after we were finished, I told Evan to watch Mask of the Phantasm when he has a chance, because again, it just brings the whole series together.
And I'm not a big fan of the Batman the Animated Series. I don't like its episodic nature, and it doesn't compel me to keep watching episode after episode. And that's also just part of the culture that was the so-called like Saturday morning cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons aren't as prevalent now as they were then. because kids can just go on their mom and dad's iPads and just watch Jamaican Mouse Clubhouse.
What's amazing about it, though, Evan, is that Batman the Animated Series is episodic, but it morphs into a continuity that turns into non-episodic television, which is Justice League. So, I mean, it leads you in. It's not dissimilar to Avatar: The Last Airbender. The first season is essentially very episodic, and then it turns into a very story-based kind of arc thing.
I don't think
we stand Patty, who is in the chat right now. This is her first time seeing this tonight.
Oh.
While she watches with us, which I love.
That's great.
But anyways, I'm really excited for this movie specifically because I know I didn't like it the first time. I didn't feel emotionally compelled to it, nor I felt like it dragged for such a short runtime. But I'm excited to revisit with two people that love it. Maybe I'll see it in a different perspective. And yeah, I'm ready to go. And a couple of things to announce.
Yeah, let's go ahead and run through this stuff real quick.
We have a famous last words with Ryan Snelling. That's right. We got the Snell bot in. I'm actually really excited because the man loves music and he loves all things television. He is probably one of the most different voices we have in our community. I think that's the best way to put it. There's always a new perspective that he has, whether you have a good or a harsh reaction to it is a different story. And so I'm really excited to get the chance to interview him. Wednesday, Suddenly Soundtracks will drop a horrors that drops with Kristen Smith. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I just haven't had time to update the graphic. Kristen is also in there along with me, Pat, and Don Gormanley, who was also on Rocket Man. So it's going to be fun, guys. It's live and it's just 6 people talking about their love of the greatest musical ever made.
It's true. I think I need that this week because there's a lot going on. So it'll be nice.
Front Center Mezzanine is getting pushed back a week, but make sure you check out their last episode with Heath Saunders. It was a fun conversation, and make sure you guys check it out. They talk about kind of just some issues in the Broadway scene and kind of how it's pretty elitist for the most part. So make sure you guys check that out. It was a fun, enjoyable watch for sure. PJ, how'd you feel about the interview?
It's still arguably, I mean, we've only done a couple of episodes, but it is absolutely one of my favorite interviews we've done so far. Heath was an incredibly rich guest. I learned so much from them, and I hope that I can only be better after having spent time with them and really learning from their experiences and things like that. And I think that the people who watch will feel the same way. So please check it out. I'm incredibly proud of that episode and what Max managed to do with it.
And then on Friday, we're watching 10 Cloverfield Lane, the sequel to Cloverfield. After the success that was, we're pushing this back an hour, and we had like 6 to 7 people watching the whole time. We're like, all right, let's do the sequel. And starting on Goodman, I am super hyped for this because I really enjoyed the last one, and I think this one I know is much different, but I've heard it's just as good.
It's so good, and I think it fits into our monster movie month, and also into like this deep dive into horror and thrillers that we're even doing. Like, it's just such a perfect mold of everything that we're trying to do over the next 3 months on the channel. And I think that everyone is going to have a really great time with it. Unfortunately, I'm likely to miss it again unless I'm really feeling it. I've got a lot going on Friday, guys. But I'm gonna at least try to be in the chat if I can't be on live on camera.
It's gonna be probably me, Max, and Evan again. And Evan's gonna be blind, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my God. Is that a Ferris in the chat? What is that, man? It's
been so long.
I know. What's going on, Ferris? We're happy to see you.
How you doing, Ferris?
But I'm super excited for Cloverfield. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to revisit 10 Cloverfield Lane. I think that movie is just remarkable.
And then last but certainly not least, we don't have a family game night planned yet. But make sure you guys check out our Family Feud that aired on August 1st. It had a bunch of people watching, and it was really a good time. It is a step up, but we can only go up from there as well.
It wasn't bad. Nope.
It wasn't bad, and I want to thank all the surveyors that were there, and it was a really good fucking time.
Yeah, man. But we got a lot going on. And of course, I mean, I'll just put this here real quick. We all know that next Monday we are going to be doing Batman Beyond: The Return of the Joker. It was originally going to be a double feature tonight. I just unfortunately don't really have the time to do it. So we're going to go ahead and do that next week as well. And then, of course, Evan, you know how excited you are about this. Scary Squad is coming. Look at those movies, you guys. So much stuff to look forward to. There might even be a couple more movies added to this list that we were not
double features. Yeah,
there's a couple of double features now. I'll be curious to see if you guys can figure out what's going to be what. But We got some surprises. We got some great guests. Kristen Smith is going to be on everyone with Tim Franco. We got Mark Riley. We got William Bibiani. We got Theresa. We got James White. There are so many people, plus the usual gang of idiots that you all know and love.
Scary Movie Squad.
Yeah, Scary Movie Squad. I can't wait.
These fuckers are what we like to call on crack. They decide to make horrible decisions for their mental health just to watch scary movies. I don't know where they get this from, but I have to be blindly supportive, and I guess that's where we are. There are a couple of titles there I'm actually like really excited about. I'm bringing up the list again. Like Halloween's gonna be a lot of fun. Scream's gonna be a lot of fun. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I cannot wait to riff on that movie. So it's gonna be a jolly good old time.
It really is, and I know that one thing that I would love for you guys to do is as we keep rolling forward, you're gonna want to get Shudder because there's gonna be a couple of these I think that you'll be able to find on Shudder. That you're going to want to watch. I'm just telling you guys, there's some great double features in this thing. There's some great panelists on this thing. You guys are going to lose your minds. It's going to be an absolute great time. I love horror movies, obviously. You guys know that. It's my jam, so I can't wait to do this. What about you guys?
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch Evan's reaction to a lot of that stuff.
It really is. And Mike K says scary movies are great, but Patty is with you, Evan. But I think that it'll be okay. We'll all be together going through these fun haunted houses because we can't go to Halloween Horror Nights this year, but we can at least pretend we're doing it here on the PJN Network. So with that, without further ado, gentlemen, do you think it's time to watch Mask of Phantasm?
Yeah.
I think you should pump the brakes because we have 2 Streamlabs. 111 minutes ago from Michael K donating $5.
Oh,
I know August is a busy month. Is a busy month because of the Schmodown, but it's nice that we're still able to have these watch-ons, especially for an all-time classic like Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Shout out to Mike K for the $5 and Ferris donated $5 in all caps. Hello. So thank you so much, Ferris. And Mike.
I love Ferris coming back strong with not just the donation, but all caps, being like, "Hello, please don't miss me." Ferris, we love you for that. We're so glad you guys are here. Now, shall we count this down? Shall we do the thing? Yep. All right, guys. We all have this pulled up on Netflix. We are all at 0-0. I'm going to count down from 5. As soon as I say go, you're going to hit play, and we are all going to watch the animated classic that is Batman Mask of the Phantasm together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
That old logo.
Yeah, man.
You know what, PJ? I'm not going to lie to you. This makes me want to, like, for as long as we can, I just want to watch Batman animated films because my favorite one is Batman Under the Red Hood. That is a great movie.
It's interesting you bring that up because Chris and I have a great idea for something that we'd like to do later in the year. We were talking about it before you got on. I don't know if you heard it earlier, but we would like to do
Death of the Family.
The Death of the Family.
Yeah, and it's an interactive movie. And yeah, with the chat interacting with it.
So the chat and us would make the decisions of whether Robin lives and dies and how we go about doing it. Because it is the prequel to Under the Red Hood.
That's going to kill Robin.
Yeah.
The chat's going to kill Robin.
What I love about this intro, though, is that it's basically the choral version of the animated series main theme, which was actually written by Danny Elfman during the subsequent because he was mapping out the theme for Batman for the Tim Burton films, and he made a slightly altered theme for a backup for consideration, and they used that backup. Warner Brothers allowed the animated studio Bruce Timm and Paul Dini to use this animated backup, and Shirley Walker, who actually scored the majority of Batman the Animated Series, she basically mimicked Danny Elfman's style. And if you listen to Batman the Animated Series music, it sounds and feels like a Danny Elfman piece.
It totally does. I mean, this show, in my opinion, kind of lives in the Tim Burton-esque world also. Like
the Penguin. Look at the Penguin and Selena Kyle. They're all based on, and in the animated series, Jack Napier, I think in this film too, is the Joker. That's his name. Yeah. He's part of the crime family.
Ferris says Caps was an accident. It was the lock was on.
Oh yeah, and also what this movie doesn't shy away from is death. Yes. What the animated series couldn't do that this movie can do is show people smoking. like an actual like lit cigar. You'll notice in the animated series, Penguin's cigarette doesn't light because of censoring. In this film, you can see the cigar smoke
the reveal. So good.
Yeah. And they're really able to get away with a lot more violence in the film too.
Well, the guns even are shooting real bullets versus the lasers that you got used to. Like they did that on purpose right away. Look, there's bullet holes. You didn't normally see that.
You didn't see bullet holes. You saw flashes of light and silhouettes.
Yeah.
But this entire first intro piece is really, really interesting because the guy straight up dies. Something that never really happened in Batman the Animated Series too.
Yep. Well, they definitely were, curbed a little bit because it was on Fox, which was more of like a kids' entertainment network at the time.
Exactly. And then it transitioned, I think, to Kids WB.
Yes.
It was the other way around. I don't know. I don't remember if Fox Kids had season 4 or Fox Kids had the original.
I love the look of Phantasm. It's like it's definitely a very Universal Monster-esque type design mixed with the old school Batman villains. I love it so much for that reason. And
I love how this is called back in, I don't know if you remember this in Justice League, where Amanda Waller essentially tells the Batman Beyond character that she had tried to remake Batman by killing his parents earlier, and her assassin was Andrea, the Phantasm. So I'm sorry if we're spoiling this, but we've all seen the movie, right?
Some of the people in the chat have not. So
oh shit.
It's all right, Chris. Yeah, it's definitely higher quality. They definitely went all in because this was actually treated like a movie budgeted version. I mean, when you look at, say, DuckTales, the movie versus the animated series, the animation had a noticeable step up, but it wasn't huge. I think there's actually a pretty giant step up in the animation from this one. I think it's much cleaner. I think it's much more cinematic, obviously, even though I always thought the show was very cinematic to begin with, but it really pops.
Yeah. Also, you can tell that this takes place early in season 1 because
damn.
I am so sorry, Ferris. Just ignore what I say. But this takes place.
Come out. Chris goes, just ignore what I say and then keeps talking.
Oh yeah, no. This what my viewing order is actually, I consider this to be the pilot, and then you watch On Leather Wings because the police are really against Batman in this film.
Yeah.
And if you watch this before any other like episode besides On Leather Wings, it kind of is weird in continuity wise. So I usually treat this as the pilot, even though the pilot of the actual show, and it was produced after season 1, is On Leather Wings. So
that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, and the way they introduced Joker too. So,
where would you put Sub-Zero then?
Sub-Zero is actually the last thing after season 3. Sub-Zero is the transition from season 3 into the season 4 style.
Really?
Because Sub-Zero, we can get into that too. Sub-Zero is great, by the way, with Mr. Freeze. It's a better version of Batman and Robin. Sub-Zero essentially transitions Batgirl into who she is and who she is in season 4. Sub-Zero also transitions Mr. Freeze into who he is in season 4. And the animation kind of transitions itself too.
That's a good call, man.
Yeah.
This really makes me want a Spectacular Spider-Man movie.
To tie up all those.
Just gonna throw that out there.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, really. I'd be all over it.
I really do love that they actually took the chance to do this on the big screen. I mean, not every animated series really gets the chance to,
Yeah. Fun fact about that is that they originally were not planning to make this a movie. This was supposed to be a direct-to-TV movie.
Yep.
The studio actually kind of blindsided them with this, and they had to reshoot the entire film animation-wise because everything was animated in 4:3 when it needed to be in widescreen. So they didn't have back then a digital kind of thing because it was all on manual animation cells. So they reanimated the entire movie into widescreen, which is ridiculous.
And it's crazy because then Sub-Zero ended up becoming a direct-to-video, very similarly.
Well, that happened because of the box office of this.
Yep.
This sucked. This box office was terrible.
Animated films that have been based on TV shows very rarely do huge numbers. Like historically, Jetsons, DuckTales, they've never really performed.
And this came out smack dab in the middle of Batman Returns and Batman Forever, and it was just kind of like a marketing disaster.
Yeah. That's just so good, though, man.
Yeah, and
I gotta say, man, I love so much the Kevin Conroy voice as Bruce Wayne in Batman.
Especially the differentiation between Bruce Wayne and Batman. It's actually something that's lost in season 4 up through Justice League, where he sounds the same as Bruce Wayne and Batman. I liked in the earlier seasons when he just sounded like normal Bruce Wayne and then had a distinctive voice for Batman. Well, but I kind of get it for cleaning up purposes of voice acting, but I think it added a little nuance to that.
There's also a lot less Bruce Wayne in Justice League than there is Batman. In the defense of the Justice League.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about season 4 Batman.
Season 4, yeah.
And also the people don't talk about it, but there's also a third Batman the Animated Series film, Mystery of the Batwoman.
Yep.
That's in the season 4 format, which kind of transitions Batman the Animated Series into the Justice League kind of thing, where he's just...
This whole sequence, by the way, is just so him meeting Andrea for the first time. It's just so beautifully handled. I like the way that it's built.
Yeah. It's also the first time he's felt something for somebody in this continuity.
Yeah, I think Mike's right, by the way. He thinks that the Simpsons movie is the only other than South Park. South Park also did very well.
South Park is, I would contend, South Park too, yeah. Evan loves South Park, the movie.
That one is good, like Stardrew said, and like Chris said, I really do like it. The only thing is, it's like weirdly also kind of out of continuity, which is something that they talked about a lot.
What was really weird was the Penguin is voiced by a different guy. It's not Paul Williams, which kind of threw me off. It's actually he's voiced by Governor Radcliffe. But if you take that out of the thing and you take Bane out, which kind of Bane contradicts himself from what he was in the animated series, which he was a lackey for Rupert Thorne, and then they're now working together in the film. There's a lot of continuity that you can kind of like. It's weird. Like, why would Bane be working for Rupert Thorne when he fucked him over in the Bane episode? But it's the weaker, obviously, of the 3 Batman animated films, but it's still fun, and it gives you a sense in Justice League, they weren't allowed to use the Batman villain character, so it was a good chance for them to just, in the movie version, go back to that universe one last time.
Well, and it was interesting because, I never thought they'd really go back to this universe. Of course, then they did The Killing Joke, which I actually am not a fan of. I think The Killing Joke is not...
Was that in this continuity?
It was the same cast, the same.
It was the same cast. It was the same cast in the film, but I don't know if it was the same continuity.
Or it was trying to get the band back together. But they've also said, even in like the last 2 years, they don't think they're ever going to go back to this continuity again. Like Batman Beyond is really the end of it. Justice League Unlimited was really like the very final version.
Justice League Unlimited ended so well. There is the 2 movies, Batman and Harley Quinn and Justice League. Fatal 5 or whatever, which has a lot of continuity.
I enjoy The Killing Joke. I was gonna say that now. I really enjoy The Killing Joke.
I enjoy The Killing Joke.
It's much weaker than the rest of the film.
The first 30 minutes.
But I think the way how it, I think the way how it handles that funhouse is ridiculous. Like in the right way.
I just think it also very much misunderstands the character dynamics between Barbara and Bruce. That's my biggest problem.
They tried to make it different instead of making it faithful, especially at the beginning. They tried to give it, they overwrote it.
Yeah, and see, Patty's right there with the. I like the second half of The Killing Joke. The second half's the best part.
Yeah, that's the comic.
And that's what Evan's talking about with the Funhouse and things like that.
I feel like they could have made a sanitized Killing Joke in the Batman animated universe continuity and just made it an episode in Batman the Animated Series and just kind of and taken out maybe some of the more hard stuff like with Barbara, but it's.
Can we just talk about how awesome it is seeing Bruce doing this early on before he's Batman, by the way? Again, a perfect kind of what Chris is talking about of this idea that it's more of a prequel to the show than it was, like a sequel or mid-cool type thing.
It gives you the kind of context you need to build the universe off of, because then after you watch this, watch On Leather Wings with the Man-Bat stuff, and it just gives you more depth to this. Yeah. Even though this is meant as the season 1 finale, this was aired after season 1. Highly recommended you watch this first before anything else, because it also gives you a very good introduction to Joker. And
Ferris, we don't talk about the Killing Joke.
Yeah.
I liked Gotham by Gaslight a little bit. I
loved Gotham by Gaslight. It was the that was the one with Jack the Ripper, right? Yeah.
Mark Hamill. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. He's not in this movie a lot, but he's phenomenal in it.
Anytime he's Joker, he's phenomenal.
Yeah. If you want good Joker episodes, I would recommend Joker's Favor, where it's the big guy that he tries to Charlie. He tries to kind of like blackmail him. He lives in another state, and it just shows his like cathartic metacism.
Yeah. This just shows, by the way, real quick, sorry, Chris, to cut you off, even pre-being the Batman that he would become, just the way he was so smart in what he did to, bring this truck down, the gadgets early on, using things to his advantage. Like, Bruce is an incredibly tactile and smart guy, which is what I like so much about this. You really know, like, he could do anything.
Originally, during this entire sequence, they were actually going to incorporate his time with the monks and everything.
Yeah.
And there was stuff with Deadman, who eventually appeared in Justice League Unlimited. That whole situation with Deadman and him being able to like contact the dead monks and everything was originally supposed to be a callback to this, but the monk stuff got cut for time, obviously. And I think it's
question. This is probably a mistake when I first watched the film. They are technically back in time from the first scene, right?
Yes, that he flashed back. So that's
this is
why
a flashback. Yeah, you can notice he's also younger too.
When did he flash back? When he was looking at his parents' portrait?
Yeah, this whole sequence happened. It's like a huge, like 20-30 minute sequence. It's basically the crux of the entire film, because everything after this gets flashed back towards what goes on here.
And the thing I like so much in this sequence, and I'm glad Evan brought it up, that I would like, when he's talking to Alfred just there, and he's like, my biggest problem is they didn't fear me out the gate. And that's to me, it's like, it's so quintessential to how Bruce should feel and act. Like, he should believe that he needs to scare the criminals when he arrives. But also, this shows Bruce in love, in like, it's very important to me, because I think Bruce needs to have another loss before he becomes Batman in a way, right?
Yeah. And it's
so. Oh, sorry, Chris. I was going to say.
Continue.
So they really lean on that, but also it's got like a classic Hollywood romance to it, almost. Like there's like a very 50s feel to it.
Yeah, the entire show has a very 50s feel, even though it's supposed to be timeless. The thing with this also is that I'm harking back to this movie's kind of repercussions on the actual animated series, is that once he is introduced to Selina Kyle, all of this makes more sense, because his reluctance to be in a relationship with Selina all stems from this movie and his relationship with Andrea. And Andrea's relationship with him is completely important to his entire arc with not just Batman the Animated Series, but his relationship with Wonder Woman in Justice League the Animated Series. It just is a whole domino effect that this franchise had in 1993 through 2006. Nothing has been done like that since MCU.
No, definitely not. Like, well, we were talking about this earlier. I mean, I still contend, outside of the MCU, this original DC animated universe is the best on-screen built universe ever put on film.
Yeah, I would contend that it's better than the MCU, just in terms of just the amount of, even though the MCU is phenomenal and there's like 20 movies and it was
much more to this.
Yeah, it's hard to actually compare the two, but I just have more attachment to this.
Well, I mean, plus you get the Superman side of it. You get
Superman the Animated Series is phenomenal.
And Beyond obviously was amazing.
Batman Beyond doesn't have much to do with the continuity other than what we're going to watch next week and the epilogue of Justice League Unlimited. But Batman Beyond, do not write it off. Phenomenal series,
This is also such a great horror-esque sequence in the middle of this film, man. Like,
what happens here is
so
they could never get away with this on TV.
No. And I love the voice work. Like, just everything about this is so good.
Yeah, and obviously Phantasm is also slightly based on Darth Vader. They made that clear because it's not a coincidence that Mark Hamill is the Joker. And clear nod to Vader.
This totally fits our horror movie-esque month, by the way. Like 3 months. Even good.
Even Return of the Joker fits it too.
Yeah, like it is really, really just. Again, I love horror films, and this harkens back almost to the Universal monsters, even in the way that the camera's positioned in animation feels like those classic monster movies, man. Like, it just fucking worked.
This scene is the most horrifying scene in the movie. Just oh god.
Also, shout out to that just Art Deco nature of this series. Like, it's just so good.
It's completely based on Burton. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of like in-your-face symbolism, which I'm fine with. I've always been fine with in-your-face symbolism because I think it's better to make it clear to the audience than not about just like overall overwhelming death and how people decide to deal with death.
This is horrible. Oh god, he was crushed.
Yeah, I'm with Patty here. I'm always a sucker for the DC animated films that went back and used those original actors like Conroy and Susan Eisenberg. The nostalgia always gets me.
Yeah, my favorite one that they did was the one where it was Justice League and it was 1942.
Yeah.
What is it called?
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was great because they used the entire original like Justice League cast and it was in the 1940s. I think it was one of the first DC animated films that they did. And I still go New Frontier, and it was great. It was phenomenal. Yeah.
Ferris, are we ever going to go back to Terry McGinnis? They keep saying I don't think that they're going to, as much as I'd love for them to. They've returned to the comics, but that's kind of it.
Bruce Timm as recently said, "Go for it, Evan."
We also got another Streamlab in from Ferris. Another $5. What's your favorite Batman animated movie? I'm just gonna start. It's Under the Red Hood for me. I think that is just stellar storytelling, front to bottom. And I really hope we get to watch along of it. I think I just want to keep watching Batman animated films because outside of this one, I love all of them.
You want to go, PJ?
I mean, we're watching it right now. Mine's definitely Mask of the Phantasm.
Phantasm's up there. My favorite though is Justice League Doom, which is the one
with James Woods.
Yeah, and the one that's essentially Tower of Babel. Yeah, Tower of Babel. It's why I love Avengers 2 because it has that Tower of Babel vibe. Batman is to blame for everything that's happened, and there's so much depth to that.
That would be one Peter Weller, Ferris. He was the voice of Batman in The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, and that is arguably outside of Kevin Conroy the best voice casting for Batman, I think, in animation, outside of maybe Bruce Greenwood in Under the Red Hood, and obviously now Death in the Family.
Yeah. There's been I did like I think his name is Joe DiMaggio in Batman Brave and the Bold. He had that great kind of 60s voice that I appreciated, and I love that show.
I thought the guy who voiced him, I can't remember who it was in Batman versus TMNT, which I really want to do a watch along to eventually.
That's great too.
Great. And he also voiced the Joker in it, which was the first time an actor had voiced Batman and the Joker in one adaptation before, which was very, very cool.
And there's great voices of the Joker. Mark Hamill's obviously the.
You were corrected by one Mike K.
It was Daedric Bader. Okay, my bad. Yeah. Joe DiMaggio does another voice, but yeah.
That's crazy that she found out who Batman was that quick.
It's not dissimilar to Vicky Vale. It's kind of actually an inside joke with the production crew is how his love interests keep finding out his secret identity pretty quickly. Also, Wonder Woman did as well. So it's Wonder
Woman didn't do anything. I've talked about it before, I think, on here. I've definitely, back in the day, I wrote a spec script for a Superman trilogy that I would have loved to make back, when I was younger. And one of the things I did almost immediately in the first film was have Lois Lane figure out that Clark was Superman, because I think it's almost better to get that out of the way and early on, which is one of the things I actually like about Man of Steel. You're telling me that Lois Lane wouldn't have figured out who Clark Kent was, so it's almost better to do that out the gate.
Yeah. And speaking of identities, whenever my favorite, I know that there was a question about your favorite Batman animated film. I think the best DCAU film, that's a DCAU film is actually the Justice League film Starcrossed, where Hulk betrays everybody. Do you remember that one? Yeah. And they have to go in hiding, and they realize everybody's secret identity. That last part of the movie is great.
I mean, we really could just watch DC animated films for the rest of the year, and it would pretty much work out, because there's just so many.
That's a great one.
I mean, I love a lot of the Dark Knight Returns is one I'd love to do. I think those are so good.
Especially, part 1 and 2.
I love this, by the way. Such a shout out to Walt Disney.
Yeah, Disneyland.
Disneyland.
And it's Tomorrowland specifically.
Yeah, and definitely Tomorrowland, and People Mover, and I love this. So good.
Yeah, a lot of these set pieces were actually originally designed for a cut sequence. With this was actually supposed to be the Joker's kind of courtroom that was supposed to be in an extended version of the movie, this was supposed to be. This wasn't supposed to be Mask of the Phantasm. This was supposed to be the trial. There's an episode in season 3 of Batman called The Trial, where all of his villains, except for the Penguin, basically put Batman up for trial. All his insane villains from Arkham Asylum put Batman up on trial about why he is to blame for everything that they've done. And that original script was the original script of this film, and it was going to be the original version of this movie, but they changed it to be a little bit more character focused and give you a little bit more depth into Batman himself, not his effect on his rogues gallery. So I don't know if you guys knew of that or not, but yeah, it was originally supposed to be the trial.
Patty, is Howard Stark going to show up? Brilliant. Ferris says Lois Lane found out Clark Kent's secret in Smallville like 4 times. Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, I just love this young dynamic of Bruce being in love, and it really starts to feel like he might find his way out of the darkness that he's been running from for so long. Not running from, but running straight into. And now it's like he gets this divergence where now he can fall in love. He can be himself, I like this. I like this so much still.
Yeah.
Find a different family almost.
Yeah. Oh, it's just so good, man.
And what's great about watching Return of the Joker after this next week is that you can tell that some design elements of a young Joker are kind of into that with the design elements of the red herring in Return of the Joker, which I'm not going to tell, but you could probably assume.
Right.
Yeah, but there's a lot of echoes between that and this as well, especially design-wise.
I really, really love the gangster feel right here too. Again, I mean, they definitely lean on classic Hollywood for a lot of how this was shaped in a lot of ways, from the 30s Art Deco style that Burton used to the old school mafia gangsters, and just like the 50s style. Like all the characters look like, Rock Hudson and Marilyn Monroe types. Like they look like they were sculpted from the 50s, and I like that a lot. I mean, Bruce Wayne in this series, if you were to try to turn this into live action, you would need someone like Clark Gable, right? Or Cary Grant more. Cary Grant would have been a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, they did. They designed him, at least in the original first 3 seasons, as sort of like that Buffy kind of muscular kind of. They definitely slimmed him down in season 4 through Justice League, but this original Bruce Wayne is definitely a Cary Grant.
The shoulder ram.
And for Dana Delaney in this chat. I love this.
Oh my God, it's Rise of Skywalker.
It's just so like Bruce really is just such a badass in this moment.
He is. It's a wonder why people might not have put 2 and 2 together that he's Batman after seeing this by bystanders.
I mean, it really just goes to show
Yeah.
He is. And then he does that because he knows that he can't let his full secret,
Yeah.
be known.
Because you can't put your loved ones in jeopardy.
Exactly. And
Well,
again,
at this point, he's not Batman. He's the guy in the mask, but still.
well, but that's the point, though,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And again, what I was saying earlier is that he's been running towards this darkness for so long as a person, and him falling in love with her is such a big deal that he doesn't want to put her in the middle of it. But he also look how upset he is because he couldn't stop it from happening.
Yep.
And he realizes that he feels the need to do it regardless, but he also doesn't want to be in love with her because he knows it'll put her in danger.
There's also a great episode in Batman the Animated Series that's kind of a follow-up to that feeling, is that anything that he's doing, he feels like it's worthless because no matter what good he does, there's still somebody who ends up getting hurt. And it's a dilemma that he's always had.
Right, and here it is. I can't have it both ways.
Nope.
Yeah, Mike's right. That was definitely a sketch of Space Ghost, by the way.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Moody Bruce.
I feel like Space Ghost, there was a lot of crossover with Cruise. It might have been a...
There probably was. I mean, WB animation at the time. Hanna-Barbera animation, I could see that.
I think that might be an even
How
stronger.
do we not use this version of Bruce in The Rain as a GIF more? Like, I see David Tennant in The Rain from Doctor Who all the time. Come on.
Yeah.
We need to get better, guys. This needs to be gift. Right there. Look at that. The sad, looking down.
Mm-hmm.
But I love this. And there it is. He never thought he'd actually be happy. And just that very human emotion of wanting to keep that going. He doesn't want to let go. And he's trying to have to, he promised his parents that he would avenge them,
Yep. And it's a job that he hasn't finished. And it's a job that will never be finished. Him having happiness is the ultimate goal that he can never have. And if he ever has it, he puts people in danger. So
right. And so her showing up like that is just so awesome to me in that moment and acting like it's the angel. That is a GIF. The sad Batman in the Rain is a GIF.
Yep.
And I love this too, because they were looking for him. He's gone now. Oh man.
There's so many there's also Perchance to Dream, where he's stuck in the dream world where he's in a fantasy by the Mad Hatter. Yep. That it's a positive fantasy. He's married to Selena Kyle, and then he realizes, no, you can never be happy, because at the end of the day, if you're happy, that's the cost of somebody else's life.
Yep.
There's so many deep concepts in this series.
They just really get that gangster feel down. This feels straight out of a Coppola film to me.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. His voice sounds so familiar too.
Who do you guys think was the best mixture of Bruce and Batman in live action? I think it was Kilmer. For one, I'm always a Michael Keaton guy. It works for me, man. I always thought he did it best of the balance.
I think live action, Kilmer had the better Batman, but Keaton had the better Bruce Wayne. It's just Kilmer was in 2 pretty terrible films and the scripts weren't that great. It's hard to really judge Kilmer and Clooney because the movies were so bad.
They're gonna kill me for this. I really like Bale.
Of course you do.
Like, so
of
here's
course
my
you
thing.
do.
Here's my thing though. I need to rewatch that trilogy. But there are parts of that trilogy I absolutely despise, and I think it's just because the Nolan's direction isn't my cup of tea.
Agree.
But I think what Bale does is really cool, and I think it transcends time.
I like Bale's. I love
because
Bale's.
you can go into it anytime.
I love Bale's Bruce Wayne.
Mike K says Michael Keaton because you would never think that version of Bruce could be Batman. I agree.
I do.
Ferris, look at PJ's face at the intense concentration. Woodburn, you've never seen Mask of the Phantasm, bro. What do you? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Definitely classic Hollywood vibes.
But yeah, definitely with there's a lot of opinions we all have on the panel of Nolan's films.
Even Patty's Affleck girl, and I actually really like Affleck. I was talking about it off camera before it started. Like, I actually really liked Alfred. I liked Affleck a lot in the role. It's a bummer to me that I feel like WB kind of did him dirty in the long run because I would have liked to see more.
Well, that's what I don't think you got a fair shot. That's why I can't say I don't have a good enough of a sample size of Affleck's Batman.
Well, I'll say this. I actually thought that his scene in Suicide Squad where he was fighting Floyd and stuff was one of the best Batman sequences on film. And also him capturing Harley is just phenomenal. I thought that what we saw from him in BVS in Times was really quite good. I thought he handled the Playboy version in the spotlight better than Christian Bale's, but we also only saw like that one sequence at the party.
He just never had a movie to himself to really shine, and that's the issue. I feel like if they gave him something, like he had a lot of he was very Frank Miller, and I appreciated that.
Yeah. Patty says, "I'll die on the hill that Clooney makes a great Bruce for the Millionaire Playboy, but not that great of a Batman." I don't disagree.
Oh,
with
Clooney's in the better film between him and Val Kilmer, in my opinion.
Ferris, now the most important question: best Alfred.
Michael Caine is Alfred. Yeah. I like Michael Golf, but Michael Golf didn't have nearly as much development as Michael Caine's Alfred did, which is another reason why I actually appreciate Batman and Robin over Batman Forever. Is they kind of engulf the lore a little bit more, and they embrace the campiness. And
Woodburn says, I'm always going to wonder what Affleck's Batman would have been like as a film. I mean, I agree, man. I would have loved to see in the end what he was going to do. I've heard that script is very, very cool. I'm always going to be a little sad about that. Patty says Michael Goff was her favorite, and I have a hard time arguing with that. I mean, I get it. I think Michael Caine is always going to be one of my favorites just because I think he so handedly handled being the protector as well as like the savior. But
his
Jeremy
Irons, specifically, I was supposed to say performance specifically in The Dark Knight Rises, I think is his best. It's the most emotional.
I do think the best Alfred, though, in general, is the one in Gotham, where I don't know because the guy in Gotham is different than most Alfreds. He's a ex-Marine. He actually goes into combat for Bruce. He's action oriented.
This moment is the moment that turns Bruce to Batman, by the way, in my opinion.
Wait, what happened there?
She left, and
she
returned the ring and's gone. And that moment when Alfred hands him that, because similarly, Nolan did something very similar, obviously, in The Dark Knight. But the moment that Alfred hands him that, and that is the moment, see, now he becomes Batman. He's putting on the cape and cowl for the first time. Yeah. Like, him realizing now he's never going to be happy is the moment that he turned his back.
Yeah, and I did appreciate Batman Begins for action. I think Batman Begins made a distinctive nod towards Mask of the Phantasm when he did that.
Sean Pertwee is the one you're thinking of, by the way, and yes, he was definitely awesome. Because, and he's also, of course, the son of one of the doctors from Doctor Who.
Yeah, but Gotham gets a bum rap. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's not phenomenal. It's a mess sometimes, but it's a fun show.
Oh, Woodburn over here. I prefer Batman and Robin to Batman Forever. That is interesting.
I do too. Yeah.
Interesting.
Batman.
I'm sorry. Nicole Kidman is in the one, and she is.
Yeah, but Batman and Robin embraces the campiness, where Batman and Forever has two Jokers and is kind of redundant.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Michael Caine treats Alfred like a true father figure to Bruce, but the animated Alfred is the most iconic. I agree. I mean, look, this
Alfred
animated
Jr., who voices Alfred, is great, and he has some great stuff, even in the animated series too, with his wife and everything. So.
Oh wow, Patty saying Batman and Robin is your fave. I look, I don't even dislike Batman and Robin. I'm interested. Really?
Wow.
I'm also very excited for Circus as well in the role. I think Circus is going to be the closest to Pertwee's probably in the film.
I think he's going to probably be an ex-Marine.
But
he
is.
There's Joker.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is why I feel like this is the best introduction to Joker, especially if you're watching the animated series in order. This is the best kind of introduction to him.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And Mark Hamill eats up the scenes with limited screen time he has, and it's great.
The other thing is like Harley isn't here yet either. Like
Harley wasn't created. Yeah, that's
right.
Why.
And that's my point is like having this as his introduction makes sense in that too.
Because with Harley, she first appears in Joker's favor, which is actually in season 1. So this makes even more sense to kind of watch this beforehand.
Exactly. That's such a bad joke in a kid's movie, and I love it, by the way. Watch your valuables as he slams it down on his nuts.
Yep. Stuff you can't really get away with in a television series.
I really need to watch Alfred still. I haven't watched it yet, Patty. Do you think it's worth it?
I've not seen Alfred.
She was bringing him up, and I'm very curious because I actually haven't seen it yet.
Is that show even out?
It's on Blu-ray right now, and I think season 2 starts soon.
It's called Pennyworth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same kind of Alfred style as he's in Gotham.
Yeah, but he's young. It's like when he's still in the military and stuff.
Yeah, I like that concept because that concept
again. Oh man. I freaking love Mark Hamill. It is on Epix. I know it's also on digital already. I think it's even on Blu-ray already too. I think that Warner Archive put it out.
That just didn't get much media traction.
I was at Comic-Con last year when they were like really pushing it, and they had like a whole Alfred experience and stuff. It was pretty cool, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is so good, man.
I like how he's $5 million in a fucking.
Yeah. And this, like, their relationship of Batman and the Joker starting here also makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways, too, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, it is a little weird that it's on Epix, but I mean, WB tends to sell off a lot of their properties to other outlets. I mean, Krypton was on Sci-Fi, which was Universal owned and only lasted 2 seasons. And, you know, that's been their MO for a long time. Yeah. It's just kind of putting DC properties anywhere that they want to put them.
I just realized, like, Mark Ellis would make a great Joker.
You know, you're not wrong, probably. Not gonna lie to you, you're probably.
I just had that thought. I'm like, you know what? That'd be great.
Evan, how much do you hate Meatloaf? Starger wants to know.
Dude, I hate the meal so much. Meatloaf shouldn't exist. Like that meal.
I'm muting him. I can't hear him talk about that.
Out of context, I would have like roasted him, but I don't like the food either.
What the? Now I have to mute you. Am I the only one here who likes Meatloaf?
Yeah, it's ironic. It's ironic. It's ironic. It's ironic.
Patty said that I like it, but I'm also a bad judge of character. I just said that Batman and Robin is my favorite. This first four starring Keaton.
Really? That's still that's a great opinion. I mean, it's different.
No, I don't. Look. We all. Have
appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Ferris, how about the artist, Evan?
Oh, Ferris, do not get him started with that.
Exactly. Mike K gets it. Meatloaf is delicious if you prepare it the right way.
Yep. I do like meatloaf parmesan, but it's essentially just at that point meatballs.
Ferris said, "How about the artist?"
Yes, I just said that to you. I literally.
I was watching the movie.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. I don't want to hear about your meatloaf.
Evan's music tastes are just crap. So.
That moment too.
Yeah.
She didn't want to leave him.
No, it's just all heartbreaking, and it's interesting they went this route with the film because obviously this didn't make money.
No.
And this probably isn't the most marketable movie ever, and I see that. I think a movie with the trial with a bunch of the Rogues Gallery would have been more marketable. But I'm glad that they decided against money making and made a good story because that trial episode, if you watch it in season 3, it's good, but it's not great. And this is a great story. And that's horrifying. He's dead.
Again, the animated series would never do that.
The animated
Not
series,
like
the animated series wouldn't make him die. They would make him like it's Joker Venom, and they could be recured. That guy's straight up dead, and he blows up too, which is ridiculous. Boom. Evan, has your opinions on this movie changed any recently or no?
I still don't like the pacing of it. Like for a minute, I thought we were like an hour through, and then I checked we were only 30 minutes. So I'm like, wow. But
it's because of the flashback.
I do appreciate the direction and how the story is being told, like from a artistic perspective.
Yeah. As much as I love Mask of the Phantasm, I do concede that the flashbacks really do bog down the pace a little bit, and I do see that.
I don't disagree, but I think it's a very specific narrative drive.
It is. I just feel like they might have been able to like make that a little smoother, because the flashbacks do last a long time, and you forget you're in a flashback, and that is a problem with pacing. That's objectively a problem with pacing. I can look past it because of how much it grows his character, though. That's the thing. You need those flashbacks to grow his motivation. And especially if you're looking at this as a pilot, yeah. Even though it wasn't produced as a pilot, I look at it as the pilot, even though the full season aired
you're
before.
Totally right, to be honest. Like, it definitely feels like the pilot.
Yeah.
I mean, the cops are literally straight up trying to kill Batman in this.
Yep. And yeah, if it's not the pilot, it's damn near close to it. I have to rewatch On Leather Wings because maybe On Leather Wings works better as a prequel to this. But because I think, if my memory serves me correct, On Leather Wings, they don't know Batman exists because Man-Bat is out there. So it might work better as like this and then on Leather Wings than this. But either way, this works as a introduction to a lot of things.
Yeah. I also just think it's maybe arguably one of the best ways to introduce Batman as a character to literally anyone.
Yes. There's a list of like, if you want to get people like hooked onto Batman the Animated Series, there's like a list of episodes, and there's this. Just the way the animated series kind of delves into the villains is something you don't really get even in modern stuff, because even in the MCU, they kind of neglect the villains.
Right.
With Batman the Animated Series, they kind of neglected them for a long time. I mean, Obadiah is great. Thanos is amazing. Loki is cool, but a lot of the villains are kind of one note in the MCU.
Man-Bat is a great character, Ferris.
Man-Bat is in the first actual episode of the animated series, Man-Bat is terrorizing the city, and the police think it's the Batman because they've never seen Batman before. And or they think he's a vigilante or whatever. They think it's Batman. That's essentially the plot of the entire thing. Man-Bat is a deformed man creature that's a bat. I don't want to really spoil the rest of that episode because it's the pilot of the actual show. And if you want to watch the show, there's a good twist to it. So, Man-Bat is just great. Even though he's only in that one episode, it's 2 technically, but it Evan, did I show you the Man-Bat episode when we watched the episodes or no?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Shout out to Ferris, who just donated another $5. He didn't have anything to say this time. He just donated another $5. So thanks Ferris. You're the best. Yeah, Batman the Animated Series, Ferris. You gotta check it out, bro. It's so good. Hey, what's going on, Kale? It's good to see you, man. Welcome to the Kale? Batman, the Mask of Phantasm stream.
Yeah. Ferris. Batman the Animated Series is very episodic. There's no arcs. It's just one story after another, but it's a different kind of show. You know, you dig it if you dig Mask of the Phantasm. It's essentially 30-minute versions of this film, but with a more
they get to use so much of Batman's rogues gallery throughout it too, which I love. I just think the animated series really dives into so much of the lore of Gotham in all the right ways, and Bruce is. You
also get new introductions to characters. Like Mr. Freeze's entire backstory was completely reworked in Batman the Animated Series, and they went through with that in the comics. They took obviously Two-Face also his whole origin is actually redone and reduxed. Penguin's origin is essentially the same as the Burton thing, where he's like neglected by high society. There's a great episode called Birds of a Feather where high society makes him out to be a bad person, and it's actually a good commentary on bullying and judging somebody by the way they look. There's a lot of great commentaries throughout the entire series.
We are going to be doing an episode of the PJ Campbell show where we break down all of the our top 10 favorite Batman the Animated Series episodes. We were going to do it last night, but again, I didn't have the time to really prepare for it.
There's a stronger show out there where everybody has time to prepare for that, and it's a good conversation to have.
Yeah,
because there is a ton of stuff to talk about.
Kale is agreeing with you, Chris, on your points that you were making. Ferris says Saul keeps talking about it, so I'm going to watch it because I watched the other Batman the Animated Series. Dude, you need to watch it. I think you dig it a ton. What
other Batman animated series did you watch? I'm curious.
He might have been watching Brave and the Bold, or
there's also the one in 2005 called The Batman.
Yeah,
or the one in like 2008 or something that was like Beware the Batman and was 3D animated.
Yeah.
Whatever one you were watching, The Batman is great too. Yeah. What did he say?
Stardrew said that Man, then Joker, Croc, and Penguin, and Mr. Freeze asking who is the Bat. One of the best episodes. That is really good.
That's Almost Gotham, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kale said the animated series is my favorite adaptation of the Batman mythos. Also, I watched this as a toddler. You and me both, man. I don't think you're gonna. I mean, at least two of us on this panel agree this is like peak Batman and peak DC animated storytelling outside of Justice League. So.
Justice League on any unequivocal level is the greatest superhero show, in my opinion, ever made. But
that's the foreshadowing right there that it was her. So that line in her look right there.
There's still people who have not seen this in the
chat.
Yeah,
I tried to. Yeah,
you've been talking about.
Yeah, no, I know. I made the mistake too earlier, but hopefully they forget what you just said. Anyway, we'll talk about that when the reveal happens. But oh yeah, and they couldn't get away with that shirtless Batman kissing a woman.
Mike K, I've said it before. I was born the same year that Batman the Animated Series debuted.
I was born a year before. I was 91.
And Ferris watched The Batman. He straight up watched The Batman, the animated series.
The Batman is great. The thing with The Batman, is that there's no continuity between DCAU. Don't think about that. And everybody's designs are really, really eclectic and weird. And the voice of Batman is kind of weird too in that show. But it lasted 4 seasons. I watched all 4. I like the show a lot. I like what they did with Joker and Penguin and everything. But fun fact: SpongeBob SquarePants, Tom Kenny voices Penguin in that show, which is hilarious.
Patty, gotta love Alfred knowing when to leave the room. Not wrong.
And what I love about the Batman is they went a total different direction with the Joker and made him black, which is great. It's phenomenal, and they really did a good job with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I would never have thought of the voice of Joker being that distinct. I don't remember his name, but he has that distinctive voice that you hear in a lot of shows. I forget his name, but
I'll look. I can't remember off the top of my head.
but the fact they made Joker black was amazing. Like, why not? That was great. That was just great representation. Kevin Michael Richardson.
Richardson. Yep.
Yeah.
Who's always great, by the way. Plus, Adam West was actually the mayor of Gotham, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. The show's not nearly as good as Batman the Animated Series, but it is fun. There's a lot of clunkers in there, though.
I mean, to be fair, I think almost all the DC animated things have had clunkers in some way, form, or another post this version of the universes.
I'll contend that I can't really point a finger at a bad Batman the Animated Series episode because there's only 85 and they had a lot of quality to them.
Well, same with Superman for me. I think Superman.
I don't know if there's a bad DCAU entry. I have to rewatch the series, but from my knowledge, I don't remember not liking an episode, which is weird.
Even Batman Beyond, which had some weaker episodes in the beginning, it still ended up being great.
Batman Beyond is one of my favorite. I will save that for Return of the Joker, but I'll just say Batman Beyond. My favorite episode is the one with the egg baby.
Yeah. My favorite thing, by the way, I don't know how many people on here watch this. I know Mike K does. He still watches the CW shows. But when they had Mark Hamill pop up in live action a couple of times as the Trickster, but they basically just let him be the Joker in live action.
Yep. He played the Trickster. He actually played the Trickster in
the original Flash. That's why he came back.
Flash. And he also played the Trickster in Justice League because they couldn't use Joker due to the bat embargo with the Nolan films. So instead of using Joker,
Chris, you just shit on Ferris' childhood. Do you realize that?
Did I?
That's apparently what you just did.
What did I shit on?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm about to find out.
Oh,
Mike K. The one DC animated series I didn't really care for was Zeta Project. I wasn't huge on Zeta either. It's the only one I assume will probably never get a Blu-ray release because it's only like a handful of episodes.
My take on Mark Hamill's Joker is that it is a much better Joker than Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Well, I
appreciate Jack Nicholson's Joker.
I love Jack Nicholson's mobster Joker. I really love that.
But Mark Hamill is the definitive Joker. Obviously on this.
But I think Jack Nicholson blows Heath Ledger away.
He says that you insulted the Batman. You said there was clunkers, I'm guessing.
Well, there is. There's the Cat, the Bat, and the Ugly. There's the Clue Master episode. There's the one with the guy that's a race car driver. There's a lot of weird episodes. There's one where the Penguin steals Green Lantern's ring, which is stupid. But it's not. I still enjoy the show a lot, and but it's not as even in my opinion. I take it. The Clue Master one is okay. I'm thinking of Ragdoll.
Quick, I'm getting Joker flashbacks. Ah!
Yeah. One of the best scenes in Justice League Action is Mark voicing 4 characters in the same. Yeah, that's the Mark short. Basically, Mark Hamill is voicing Joker, himself, the Trickster, and somebody else in the same car, and it's hilarious. Justice League Action is a great short turn. It's like a clip show kind of thing. It's kind of like Robot Chicken.
Kale says, anyone up for live action Batman though on television? I mean, I've always thought we've needed a live action Batman TV series for a long time. That's not, and I mean, I thought Gotham was fun for what it was, but like, I'd love to see like a very real Batman live action TV series. I'm very curious about that new one that HBO Max just announced about the Gotham PD, because you definitely know that Batman's going to be like a boogeyman in it, which I think is going to be very fascinating.
Yeah, that's what they said about Gotham, and they turned it into a supervillain show. I hope.
Yeah, but this one's actually being done by Matt Reeves, like, because it coincides with the movie. So I think that you're more likely to get that, because it's going to probably be very much about the corruption, especially right now in our world. It's going to be about the corruption that GCPD faces.
Exactly. And the fact that I think it's also incorporating Colin Farrell's Penguin.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Because if it's all about corruption, you got to do that. I'm also excited about Colin Farrell. I can't wait to see what he does with that.
Dude, I'm so excited to see him as Emperor Penguin. You have no idea.
Yeah. And the fact that he put on the weight too, which is insane. Yeah.
I love Colin Farrell. He is one of the best character actors working right now, and one of the best actors, period. In my opinion, he should have been nominated for Saving Mr. Banks as a best supporting actor. With the whole to me, he didn't.
With the whole fact that they're going down the Emperor Penguin route, I wonder if they're going to do Court of Owls.
I have a feeling. I think we might see a live action Court of Owls. To be honest, that seems very Matt Reeves like.
If you're not familiar with the Court of Owls is basically a crime syndicate that controls all of crime in Gotham, run by the Penguin.
Also. Oh, sorry, Chris, not to cut you off. I wanted to say this real quick. One thing that none of the live action depictions have gotten correct that this movie and the show altogether got, Batman as the detective.
Yeah, the detective aspect was kind of lacking in everything, except for, I would say, 1989 Batman. I think that was the closest it came to a detective aspect.
Yeah.
They lost the detective because he was hardly in Batman Returns as a Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And in Batman Forever, they cut all those detective scenes with the book, with the red book, which I watched those deleted scenes. It wouldn't have made the movie better.
No.
but and I don't think he even did any detective work in the Nolan series. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember him doing any.
He did the one thing with the bullet, and that was about it.
Okay.
Patty says we're getting an adult Bruce Wayne and Batman or Batwoman next season. That is, I forgot about that. I'll be curious to see.
I'm just curious to see like how that goes, because I know they recasted the main actress.
Well, they created a new character though instead of recasting. So shout out to them for doing that.
And I love how they made. Can
I just say real quick, that's so Godfather-esque, her walking in as one dude's walking out. Like, again, there's a very classic Hollywood style feel to a lot of this.
And that's so suggestive with the sausage. That's great. And they put that in purposely to say screw you to these censors for the TV series.
He tapped the robot on her ass.
Yes, he did.
Well,
Mark Hamill, man, just unsung. Sorry, Chris, did not mean to step on what you were going to say. Just unsung hero to me in all things when he voice acts.
Yeah. I like how she knows that he's the one that killed her father too.
Mm-hmm. That reveal threw me for a loop as a kid. I'm not going to lie to you guys.
I apologize we spoiled that, but yeah, that reveal is great. What I also appreciate is that they gave him the origin for this. Could basically fit in the continuity of the Burton verse, where he was the gangster Jack Napier. Yeah, and he was an underling of the guy who he killed at the beginning of 1989 Batman. The one thing I wish they did was follow this all up. The only the guy kicked in the nuts. The only follow-up to this is what we were talking about with Amanda Waller at the end of Justice League.
Also, the fact that she reveals to herself Joker first before to Batman is To Bruce is really interesting. I think it's an interesting play for the audience.
In her mind, she had it the fact that she was going to kill him anyway, so it really was no point in him not knowing or knowing, and it just would have given her the gratitude. Also, never jump through a window like that; you'll die because of the glass.
God, I just love Campbell's voice work as the Joker. It never ceases to make me happy. Yeah.
He's the perfect voice of Joker. I would love to see how Mark would work as a live-action Joker too, honestly.
Well, that's what I was saying, is his trickster basically was Joker in the CW. So, like, I kind of felt like we finally got what it would look like.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the one thing I think that the animated series Batman, and especially this movie, does more than some of the others, Batman really gets a lot of cool toys because it's animated. You can do more. Like, I like his bat motorcycles and stuff a lot. The designs are always very cool.
This was back before there was a huge focus on making everything toy-genic,
right,
and making it like fit a mold for a market. They started doing that like in the mid 90s, but in the early 90s, like Kenner had a great line of Batman the Animated Series figures that were not necessarily based on what was on the show. They made their own stuff.
Yep.
So all of this stuff just feels a little bit more.
The snap. He's so upset.
Yeah. It all feels a little more authentic, that it doesn't feel like it's a product tie-in.
Yeah. Mike K says he should have. That performance was incredible. That goes back to what I was talking about with Colin Farrell. And then Patty says, comics logic. People of importance survive jumping through windows. Accurate.
Yeah.
She really became like the anti-Bruce. But she's literally killing people. You know, that's it's so good.
Yeah, she killed 3. Oh no, 2. She killed 2.
Well, and when she says that to Bruce, the look on his face, it's like he clearly knows she doesn't understand why he's doing what he's doing, because it's not vengeance anymore. For him, it's a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a code of conduct. It's a meaning. It's not just for vengeance.
It's to let not what happened to him happen to anybody else.
Right. Whereas she's doing it out of vengeance, which is more consuming. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. She's what the Joker will want after having one bad day. 100%.
And here comes the King Kong vs. Godzilla moment.
By the way, I love the little WB logo right there. Just, you know. The building in the background moving is just the best.
If King Kong vs. Godzilla isn't like this, I'm going to walk out of the theater. And this is the only time you hear the Joker theme from the animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, did you ever see Crank 2?
No.
There's a sequence in Crank 2 where they do like a Godzilla, like
blood,
big versions of these dudes. It is hilarious. I'll have to send you the clip later.
Yeah. That's also what I like, and this is basically King Kong with the planes. But
justice, not vengeance. Absolutely. What were you gonna say, Chris?
What I was about to say was that we heard the Joker's theme. What's also unique about the animated series that every single villain had their own kind of little unique tune that would play underneath the title card, so you knew which villain it was that week. Which I felt was really unique as well. You don't get that anymore either. That attention to score detail in animated films, at least, animated series, at least.
It's just so Joker. Like he really is the comic version come to life, down to his plans. Like that's the thing. Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, like they really love the Batman characters and stuff.
Involved in the comics, like especially with Laughing Fish or with Mad Love, or with there's a bunch of Joker subplots that they just hived and tackled and just put and meshed into episodes. That it's just their entire series was a love letter to the fans. It's a shame that this didn't do well at the box office.
I really wish it had. I mean, but it's also found such a giant following post that
now, yeah.
So that that's almost more important that it's got the fans that it's got now.
Mm-hmm. But also, this poor box office kind of excavated the whole. Let's get the Burton stuff out of the theater and change up the mood. The fact that Joker says you're crazy is the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard. I can't imagine reanimating all of this to fit the widescreen ratio, and how much more budget that took. Because if they didn't have to do that, this movie might have made money. I just thought of that. If they didn't have to do the old reshoots, this movie would have made money. Also, blood they weren't able to show, so the fact that he's bleeding is cool too.
Like, she straight up is just ready for vengeance and destroying all of this.
Yeah. There's something interesting in the comics that this is all true to the comics, is that no matter what happens, Joker seems to survive anything.
Yeah.
There's an interesting thing in the comics right now where it's the three Jokers, where there's like three versions of Joker out there. I'm wondering if there's three Jokers in the animated series too. Because I don't know how he survives this. Also,
this is just so good, man. And for this to be like the place where they really spent so much time together, and like, it's just such her destroying that is destroying them too. Like, it's a very final sort of thing.
Yeah. Also, this would be a great log flume ride at somewhere. Yeah. And it's all left and ambiguous too.
What do you mean?
Like, what did she do with the Joker? What happened with that?
Oh, that line is so powerful.
I don't think she wanted to be saved, sir.
Yeah, well, and then the vengeance is, blackens the soul. And him just talking about, you literally walk the edge of this every single night. It just, it's so
the dialogue is so good.
Yeah. Mike just said that was the best Joker laugh Hamill ever delivered. I don't disagree. I do think it.
There's also a great one in we're gonna watch it next week in Return of the Joker during the flashback scene with Tim Drake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was there.
Yep.
So she's still alive. Yeah. It's just, I wish that there was an episode that kind of followed it up without having the flashback and waiting 10 years for it. But yeah, because here she is on the boat, but it's.
I mean, my assumption, because similar to what we were just talking about too, with what, this potentially being kind of a prequel to everything in the series, is that, Joker's in Arkham and she actually didn't kill him in the end.
That's a good thought.
Because the first time we see Joker is in Arkham.
Yeah, in Christmas with the Joker, because he's saying Jingle Bells, Batman smells Robin, laid an egg.
Yep.
That's his first episode, and I like that idea too. That's probably where my mind went when I watch it in order.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that maybe she killed him and there's a second Joker out there. I like that idea too, now that the comics are out there. But
I just love this right here. That lookout, seeing this.
Again, this feels like a first episode. Yeah. And that looks so iconic for and then you could go right into the animated series from this.
Yep. Man, this movie just really fucking works. On so many levels.
It works as a pilot. It works as a movie by itself. It works as just a concentration piece on narrative and animated film. It just has so much. It has so many good qualities that it could be useful for anything.
It really does, and I just think that overall, I think it's just one of the most interesting looks in the Batman mythos ever. Patty says that the unaired Birds of Prey pilot has a great Hamill laugh too. I have not seen that.
Yeah.
I need to check that out. But man, I had a really nice time revisiting this. I watch this movie pretty frequently, but to have like a panel here to enjoy it was a lot of fun. Evan, I'm going to go ahead and start with you just to get your wrong opinion out of the way for Mike K. How you feeling?
I enjoyed it more this time. I think my issue is that my main two issues is Stick. I don't feel as emotionally attached to Bruce or to Andrea as I think I should. I think, ironically, even though it's slower paced, it could have used more time to build up the relationships, so I could feel for them more. And I could have used a few more scenes where, like, maybe Bruce Wayne is talking to the police themselves, not like Batman, or like, Bruce is actually like trying to like vibe with the police. So like when he's nearly killed by the police, feels more tense, and that moment feels more levity for me. I do appreciate the film more. I think it's a more cohesive story than I first imagined, and I understand why so many people have it so beloved. It's a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My issues still remain.
No, I mean, look, I can respect where you're coming from. I don't know how much I would have liked to see Bruce interacting with the cops, though. I think that kind of goes against the purpose of the situation, because Bruce has always kind of run away from that. Yeah. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it more, at least, for what it's worth. That's good. Chris, we talked all the way through it. We really did. But we watched it. How you feeling?
I mean, I still love the film. I love it a lot. I guess I do get what Evan is saying about Bruce's connections. The thing is, me and you have seen the animated series. We know his connection with Gordon. There's been episodes where it's just them and their relationship, especially when he gets shot in Over the Edge, or something about where there's an assassination attempt on Bullock. And it's basically Batman's relationship with the cops and Bullock, and building that relationship up. A lot of those relationships are built up in the show. And when you watch the show first, or the show, all of that stuff is in your head when you're watching this. So all that development is already up here. So it already makes you immersed. If you're watching it like Evan was, completely blind to 95% of the show, I can see his viewpoint about that. And I could see the points where some of the pacing, you forget you're in a flashback sometimes. And that is objectively a problem with the pacing if you forget you're in a flashback.
Sure.
Because if you forget you're in a flashback, it's jarring. And then it becomes really, really cathartic about where you are in the actual film itself and what the timeline is. So I get that aspect of it. But watching this so many times and being connected to the characters, it definitely enhances your experience. If you watch this and then you watch the animated series and the animated series, it definitely enhances the movie more. And and this Batman, you get really attached to as you get into Justice League. So I've always been attached to Connery's Batman. So, I mean, I can't really look at this from a non-objective level because I know the Batman character too much from the DCAU. So, but the movie itself is great.
Yeah, I mean, like you, I think that it's hard for me to be a little less objective, obviously, because I grew up watching it. Like, Conroy and Hamill are always going to be my Batman and Joker. Like, it just is what it is. But I think the movie works. It's a great introduction to the character. It's a great introduction to the world. It's the kind of movie that, even with the pacing being a little off for some people, I think it's like the perfect introduction to, if you don't know a lot about Batman and you want to show someone who Batman is, it's like such a great starting point. It just dives into such an interesting dilemma with him too. And it's for an animated movie, it's got a pretty bleak ending too.
It does. And that's probably design choice, and also the fact that they kind of want you to kind of go into the show hoping that there's more optimism, like
Right.
optimism, and it's also, lest we forget, this was also written as a direct-to-TV movie until they decided to make it a theatrical release. So
Right.
all of it was essentially meant to bring somebody back to the television show. So ending on a happy note probably wouldn't have been the best move, because then what's the point of watching the show to see how things continue?
Right. And I think that it's the perfect leaving off point at that. But man, what a quick watch along tonight, but a very fun watch along tonight. I hope that you guys had as much fun as we did. But Evan, I'm going to go ahead and let you take us through our housekeeping stuff again before we head out.
Hell yeah. So tomorrow I have an interview with Ryan Snelling at 10 p.m. EST, 7 PST with Ryan Snelling, the roommate of the said PJ Campbell, host of Movie House, once hosted After Schmo with Jay Williamson is a creator over on Sight and Sound. He also makes music too, so make sure you guys check it out. I'm really excited to interview with Snelling. We've been friends for a while. So it's been kind of due time that I interview the Snell Goats. And then on Wednesday, make sure you guys check out Little Shop of Horrors. Chris, if you want to talk about that.
Oh yeah. Also, obviously, I said Kristen Smith is on it. I haven't time to update the thumbnail, but essentially, this is PJ's break from all the craziness. He gets to talk about his favorite musical with us, and this is just essentially 6 people delving into Little Shop live. There's not going to be huge graphics or anything. We're just going to be going through Little Shop and talking about it, because this was our first episode of Suddenly Soundtracks with me and Don. So I'm just celebrating it by just like doing it live and getting people on to talk about it that weren't on the original show. So Little Shop means a lot, and Little Shop is just a joy to listen to, and I can't wait to talk about that live.
Little Shop is
All right.
love. Little Shop is life.
Better than Hamilton.
Yeah. Why? And the front center mezzanine is going to be delayed a week. But make sure you guys check out the last episode that had Heath Saunders on it. Max and PJ had a ball interviewing them, so make sure you check that out. And then Friday, we're watching The Host. It is
we're not.
We are watching 10 Cloverfield Lane. Make sure you guys check that out. It's the sequel to Cloverfield, which I really enjoyed. And I'm going into this blind as well. I've heard nothing but great things about this movie, and I can't wait to sit down and watch with everyone. And then Saturday,
I love it so much.
We have nothing planned for Family Game Night yet, but make sure you guys check out our Family Feud 2, The Redux. It went better than it did last time, and we had a bunch of people check it out. So you guys, make sure you guys watch that, because it was a really good time, and having that made with people on kind of stressed me out, but it went well. And then on Sunday, we don't know, and then make sure on Monday you guys check out Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. I'm thoroughly excited for this, because this is one I have not seen, and that looks like an older Bruce. So.
Essentially, Evan, like there's
we should just not tell him.
Yeah, we're not gonna tell him. Yeah, I'm glad you're going into that blind, because you're gonna really love that. It's probably my second or third favorite superhero film ever, even though it was never released here.
Yeah, it's real
Big
good.
Word.
I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited for this to be Evan's first experience with Batman Beyond. And of course, we got one last thing.
Oh yeah,
Evan's favorite time of the year, the next 3 months, Scary Movie Squad. September, October, all things spooky here on the PJ Campbell Network. There's going to be a couple of double features that are thrown in here for good measure that we aren't going to announce. It's just going to happen. We'll probably tell you guys, a heads up a couple of days before maybe, but there's some good stuff coming up on here. We got Halloween, Friday the 13th, Part 2, Scream, Haunt, Poltergeist, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, The Conjuring, The Cabin in the Woods, Sleepy Hollow, and the Halloween Eve. Halloween Eve. On Halloween, we're doing a double feature of Trick or Treat and Halloween 2018, because how do we not bookend Scary Movie Squad with Halloween and Halloween? I am super pumped.
We're all going to be stuck at home anyway for Halloween, so it's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, Evan, how you feeling?
I am just feeling.
Shit, Mike is right. I am going to be on a certain point of view this week. I should probably talk about that. I'm going to be on with Abby. We're going to be talking about the question writing process and all those things. I think it's really important to actually, put our names and faces out there so that people remember that the writers of the movie Trivia Schmodown are human. And not to go after us when you decide that there's a question that you would have challenged, even though you weren't competing, and, throwing shade at us. So please don't do that. We are human, and there's not even anything that could have been challenged in that, but what do I know? So Scary Movie Squad, how you feeling?
we're just feeling, dog. There's some movies I'm excited for. Some movies I'm just gonna call in sick to. Yeah,
Scary Game Squad too.
Excuse me.
Game Squad. We should do that too. That'd be great.
No. That's a whole other level, and you're trying to cross that. I'm just gonna redux that and say X-nay on the X-way. You can play Five Nights at Freddy, but I am gonna make sure I fall asleep 5 nights in a row.
Oh, that's good. That's cool.
What are you most looking forward to, man? Out of
me?
All of this? Yeah, with all of these.
Like I said, Killer Clowns is gonna be fun. I actually really enjoy the old Poltergeist. For some reason, the older effects don't get me. I just love the way how that story is set up and how you see like it's not really the deconstruction of a house, but how a family is just how a nuclear family can be so dysfunctional. And that's always really, really exciting. And I also think watching Sleepy Hollow for the first time is going to be a good old time.
Sleepy Hollow is not that scary, so you're good with that.
Yeah.
I know the one that you're the most worried about still to this day is Haunt.
It's not happening. I'm not going to be on it. This is cute.
I am going to watch it with you before we watch it.
It's not happening. They're cute. I'm going to be drinking that night with my friends, and we're going to play board games. That's what's going to happen.
All right.
All right. So with that, I guess Evan is no longer part of the channel. Evan, it was nice seeing you. Goodbye.
You're out of the squad.
No, but for real, I am super excited about everything scary that we're doing for the next few months. I know that much like you, Evan, Patty is not the biggest fan either of scary movies, but I hope that you guys will still be here to hang out, have a good time. Ernest Scared Stupid is great. And
that's actually really, really scary with the trolls and the trees. It's really scary for children.
But man, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. But with that, Evan, let's go ahead and get ourselves out of here. Where can everyone find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter live you guys can find me on Twitter at Degraff Live. I tweet about everything. Sports season is piping up, and I've been giving up some piping hot sports takes for better or worse. So you guys make sure you guys check that out, and also be good to each other. I've realized since everything's happening, I've kind of distanced myself from more political things, but I'm just gonna say this now: be good to each other, and also like stand up for what you believe in, and
wear a goddamn mask.
Yeah. I have a whole wall of masks, y'all. Please wear your mask. Literally, I got a new Margaritaville one in today, and it's kind of hot. So, yeah,
that's great. I thought they were brawls for a second.
And Black Lives Matter.
All right. And Chris Clark, where can everyone find you, my friend?
You can find me at Chris Clark 8788. Those numbers mean nothing on Twitter and Instagram. And also, Mike K, I also said that Little Shop you can see on HBO Max before the Wednesday night stream. So be sure to check that out. Suddenly Soundtracks. Bada bing, bada boom.
All right. And guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram over at PJ_Campbell. Of course, you can find me over at the Movie Trivia Schmodown where I'm writing questions. We're getting ready to ball into this giant singles tournament. There's a lot going on. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time working on that over the next couple of weeks. So, give me and the rest of the team some love, and everyone over at Skybound who is making this stuff possible, everyone at the Schmodown who makes it possible. Without you guys, the show doesn't exist. And without you guys, this channel doesn't exist. So once again, Mike K, Ferris, thank you to everyone who donated tonight, and to everyone who's donated in the past, and for coming back week in and week out and watching movies with us. You guys rock. We see you. We love hanging out with you. You make my Fridays and Mondays better. I hope we make your guys' Friday and Mondays better as well. So with that, guys, we'll catch you out on the next one. Peace out.
Bum. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I said so long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Oh, it's been great to play and sing together in the box, and now it's time to say goodbye. Oh, so long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye, for now, until we meet again. Goodbye for now, until we meet again.